Imagine that you have a big house, a rich house, and you try to be generous. You decided to let a lot of people to live in your house because you think you can afford it, and there are so many people who has worse houses. Why not to share with them your own house that's incredibly big and rich, and you let people in? And suddenly something starts happening because you let people in without discrimination, without thinking carefully about who you let in, without reasoning, without applying common sense. And suddenly something starts changing about your house. People refuse to learn the language of your house. And suddenly you realize, how am I supposed to communicate with these people? They refuse to learn the language of my house while I let them to live in my house and to derive benefits from this richness and wealth of my own house. But nevertheless, they refuse to learn the language. Also, they start criticizing slowly your religion. They start abusing your religion because they believe that they have their own religion. Why would they abandon their own religion and adopt your religion? But your religion is the main religion of the house. That's how you create this wealthy, prosperous, incredibly peaceful, and safe house. But they don't care. They won't criticize your religion. They won't criticize your tradition. They want to insult your tradition because they don't care about your religion nor your traditions. And you don't know what to do because you want to be welcoming. You want to be tolerant. But somehow your tolerance works against you. Whatever you try, you're always bad because in some sense you're the owner of the house, and somehow you begin noticing that more and more people hate you just because you're owner of this house. And the fact that your father built this house makes it even much more worse. And suddenly you notice that they decided to tear down the statue of your father from your lawn that was there for 100 of years. They just destroy it. And they make you feel guilty about it, like it's your fault that they so aggressive in their idea of your house destruction. Like it's your fault. Everything they do is your fault because in some sense you provoke them do this. And you try to defend yourself, but they tell you, no, you cannot defend yourself because you're a bad person and we have to put even more guilt on you. And it doesn't matter that you let us live in this house in the first place because it doesn't matter now. It's their house, it's not your house. But you have to stand your ground because if you hesitate to defend what matters to you, how do you know if it actually matters to you? That's a good question. Because you can imagine house as your country, or you can imagine house as your mind, as your brain, and you're the one who let ideas come inside of you, come inside your mind and planted the seeds for the future ideas that would sprout out of them. How do you know what is right and what is wrong? How do you know what defensible and what is not? That's why a lot of people who seems understand a lot of things, they want to defend the West, their countries. They just want to let it go because other people scream louder. It doesn't matter that their screams make no sense, they scream louder. And they're incredibly aggressive while people in the West try to figure out in intelligent manner what's going on. That's why you come to this conclusion that maybe we have to change our perception of the world. Maybe we should stop creating this noble idea that all cultures are equal and everybody want to have the same thing because it was untrue 100 years ago, it's untrue now. all cultures aren't equal, because if it was so, then all people were equal in their development, in their idea of justice, in their propagation of values. But it's not. Every country has their own ideas of justice. Every country has their own values. And to assume that everybody the same, it in some sense denied diversity that you fight for in the first place. Because if you assume all cultures are the same, and all religions are the same, and all people are the same, then what kind of diversity you fighting for if everybody are the same? Because if everybody are the same, there's no diversity in the first place. Diversity is impossible in the sameness of all religion, in the sameness of all people, in the sameness of all values. But the problem is we're not the same. And diversity in some sense can be good, but in most cases, if it comes to your place, to your country, to your house, to your mind, even unvetted, then you can find some crucial points that works against you, because in some sense your mind is the same as your country. You'll let certain ideas parasitize your brain or not, because you have to always double check everything. And that's like in my last point, when I did my previous episode, I was talking about religion and how important religion for the West, because religion gives you practice, and this practice creates consistency in your behavior toward love of yourself and your own country, because love of yourself starts with God. When you practice this love and this wisdom toward God, because fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. You have to fear something more than you are. And once you have this noble fear of God, then you start accumulating wisdom, and then you start rejecting. You have enough ground to reject idiotic notions of the mob that always will be around you. Because everything starts with our own selves. You can't defend your country if you cannot defend yourself or your family. And if you have no family, and if you don't care about kids, and if you don't care about anything at all, what exactly are you supposed to defend? Like what exactly? Because if you have nothing, you defend nothing. You have to create. All our ideas of justice in the West derive the roots from Judeo-Christian traditions. All our values came from there, and we have to be very careful what we disregard. And I don't know why the West so easily allow to be criticized, to be looked upon like something bad, like something inherently evil, and why the West doesn't want to defend itself just through common criticism. Through, like, if you try to criticize the West, then name me one better country outside the Western civilization that people want to move, that people want to live. Name me one country that's so prosperous, like America, that has so much freedom, and people want to come here all the time. I think it's about million immigrants a year come to this country, maybe even more. My point is, people still want to come to this place. People still want to have this American freedom, but American freedom is impossible if we have this cognitive dissonance within us. You come, for example, I notice interesting thing that more and more immigrants who come to this country, they bring hate toward this country. And it's kind of amazed me. Why would you come here in the first place if you hate this country so much? Another thing, how you're supposed to utilize an American dream, you have this cognitive dissonance. From one side, you want to achieve success in this country because somehow you believe this country is great and you actually can achieve success. But from another side, you think this country is incredibly wrong, evil, and horrible. And this creates cognitive dissonance. And how you're supposed to achieve an American dream having this cognitive dissonance? It's just impossible. That's why I never understood those immigrants who come to this country with a hate in their heart, because they plant the seed of this hate into the soil and there grows nothing out of it. Literally, you have nothing. You come with hate, you live with hate, and you die with hate. Because hate is something that works against you. There's nothing worse than to bring your own hate to a new place where you thought you would find hope. Because you can only find hope by being open to a new place. And you have to be grateful to live in America, because gratitude is one of the most important things on the planet. If you don't have gratitude in your life is in some sense over. You have to have gratitude, because if you lack of gratitude, you live in hell, because it's never going to be enough. You can always find evil. You can always find anger with everything, with people, with stuff, with ideas, with facts, with emotions. You can find anger in every single thing. But gratitude takes practice again. It's like something about gratitude, something from religion. There's in gratitude, because you have to practice gratitude every morning, that you're still alive, that you're still well, that you're still able to understand right from wrong, and you still have certain values to propagate upon your own life, because you have to study your own mind, you have to study your own life, you have to study your own position inside of this life, because life can be fascinating if you have gratitude toward it. But if you don't have gratitude, you have resentfulness. And what resentfulness does to you, it makes you so little with your anger and your own little evilness, that you try to hurt other people because you keep hurting yourself. And when you keep hurting yourself, you want to hurt other people. It's the same as with gratitude, because gratitude makes you feel so good, and you want to share your gratitude with other people. You want to share your love for this country. That's what I notice about a lot of immigrants. They, for some reason, have this hate toward this country. And I have only one question. Why are you here? Why? Why not to be there where you were born? Because when I came to this country about 12 years ago, I love this country, and I'm proud to be an American, and I have this gratitude in my heart for this country. And for me, success defined not by money you make, not by power you accumulate, but by knowledge you have within yourself. And I still have this curiosity about the world and about myself and about a lot of things that interest me. And this country gave me this opportunity to live the way I think is right. It's not perfect. My life is not perfect. It's struggle, but life must be struggle. It must be struggle to the point where you learn about yourself. And then when you learn about yourself, you start learning about the world and about the place you live. You start sharing your knowledge with other people. You try to analyze things. You become even more curious about everything, especially about things that matter, like to find such a knowledge that would help you to process information more sufficiently. That's the point. The point is struggle. The point is every day to push yourself to your own limitation. And this country was built by people like this, who pushed themselves toward the limits, who were trying to achieve something unachievable in Europe and in any other part of the world. This country was built by victors, was built by those who came escaping religious persecution from Europe, escaping this aristocracy where you had no chance to become something more than you were born into. And only in this country you can become an American. And what American means, especially for me, that if you play by the rules, and if you have gratitude in your heart toward this place, toward an American dream, everything good will happen. And you will become something. But you have to learn to measure yourself not with other people. Compare yourself not with other people, but you have to compare yourself with yourself, what you wore yesterday or the day before yesterday, because that's the war you try to win against. It's fight you against you, not against other people. That's what a lot of us getting confused. They always try to make this comparison with other people. Other people don't care. Nobody cares. You have to care about yourself and how better you are now versus how were you before. This fight you will never win, because this fight is gradual fight toward future, toward your own future. Because if you can make yourself better tomorrow, then you will be much better in a year and incredibly best in 10 years. That's how life is. And this country gives you this opportunity. This country gives you this opportunity. Only one thing you need in this country: to have gratitude in your heart, because you live in the most prosperous country on the planet Earth.